Man, I want to talk about words. Words. Seems like a weird thing to talk about. But I want to talk about that. Because I think there are some very simple words that we use nowadays that we just can't seem to remember the definition or have any kind of common ground of what certain words mean. Okay? When I was a teenager, oh man, I was all about words. I was a real trickster. Now, I loved words because I would use them in lyrics to music, poetry, journaling. I would sit in my room, literally going through the dictionary with a highlighter, highlighting words that I liked, that sounded interesting, and then learning what those words meant and learning how to use them. And at any opportunity that I could, when speaking to my friends or speaking to others, I would try to use words. Interesting words, different words, complicated words. It was fun to me. It was a challenge. And I got a lot of shit for that. I got a lot of flack for that, for using words, complicated words, or words that, people wouldn't normally use. But I got a real kick out of it. And especially when I was writing songs and lyrics, poetry, journaling, that sort of thing, I would find ways to use words in different ways with their meanings, maybe contrary to the meanings. But I always liked the words. Well, I can't say that I'm really that way now. But I am thinking about words and their meanings and their usage today and what we're doing now. Words like right and wrong. Words like love and hate. Words like black and white. Words like free. And what is a good word opposite of free? But these simple words, that we hear or we see on a daily basis, do they have some sort of congruent meaning to the whole? Can we agree on right and wrong? Can we agree on love and hate? Can we agree on black and white? Can we agree on free and fill in the blank? Because I don't know what the opposite of free is. That can mean many things. But these words that are really common words should have a really common collective understanding. Or when you hear the word, it should bring up something known or something understood. These words seem to be becoming more and more obscure, should I say? More selective. It seems to me that this common ground that I guess growing up I thought that we all had or should have, it seems to me that it's becoming more and more and more distorted of what is right and what is wrong. What is love and what is hate? Integrity, honesty, truth. These are very simple words that we all know. We all should have a common understanding of by now, and what it means, and what the definitions are. But no, it's getting more and more complicated somehow. Like we are reinventing the wheel. Of what these simple words mean. And it's almost like the words only have a meaning if you can justify them in some way, if you can stand by them in some way. You know, I thought that the words in the dictionary when I was a kid, a teenager, I thought those were obscure. Because those weren't ones used regularly. And who would try to make sense out of that or make a sentence out of that? But simple ones, like good and bad, right and wrong, free, unfree. black, white. I feel like we're like in a moment of de-evolution, of really making things more complicated than they need to be. That would be the simplest explanation. But honestly, I think it's manipulating the meanings of these words. Manipulating these simple understandings that we all know. I don't know. Just something that I've been thinking about today. Words. Love. Hate. Those are pretty basic words. But our scope and our broadness of things seem to have really diluted and distorted the meaning of them both. Man. Well, I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're staying safe and have a peaceful day. Words.